would have been.
Where did you dig up that old fossil?
Going to Toshi Station to pick up some power converters.
That's no move.
We're all fine here now, thank you. How are you?
Welcome to the Star Wars Nerds Podcast. I'm Dan Vadabonker.
And I'm Kenton Larson. And my voice cracked. I have a cold.
You forgot your voice. Tell
I have a brutal cold, and I was going to go buy a coffee, but then you said, don't just come straight here.
Well, I said I didn't need a coffee is what I said.
Yeah, and so I came straight here, and you had a coffee, and now I'm suffering. I'm being tormented.
I drank that coffee like an hour ago.
I'm being tormented. Because if my voice wouldn't have cracked, if only Dan wouldn't have said, don't go get coffee.
I didn't say that. You're twisting my words.
Here, let me look at the text. Don't go get coffee, it says.
I'm glad.
Okay, yeah, I got my voice cracked.
All
Yeah,
right,
I have a cold. I have the Cree-Calm cold, we're calling it.
Yeah.
And it blows through here once a semester usually. Usually 3 weeks in, and this is a little bit later, 7 weeks.
It actually started. I think it started about 3 weeks, and I think it's lasting a lot longer than usual.
Yeah.
And I, knock on wood, have not caught the cold yet. I keep my distance from the students. I don't go near any of them. I try to stay at the.
They sneeze on the paper, Dan. That's
use
how it works.
I don't use paper anymore. I don't. I went completely paperless for my assignments. So
Yeah,
I'm
but
just
you know
trying to have no physical contact at all with these students. I'm in a bubble.
You know what the worst
in the
thing is?
classroom.
These microphones we're talking into are probably just cesspools for germs.
Probably.
Yeah.
That's right.
Don't you think so? This little guard, there's a spit guard on it. And my guess is this thing is just
now you're
it's a
making
spit
me.
guard, and which means it gets hit by spit.
Now you're making me all paranoid about this. I'm going to
I know,
totally
it's
catch a
yucky.
cold. All right.
Yeah,
I'm glad you made it past the first marker today in our blizzard, our Hoth-like conditions. Not really, but it's
getting there.
It is snowing in Winnipeg, and everyone freaks out when it snows. But it's like, hey, guess what? It happens every year.
And people Instagram it, which is my favorite. And they'll Instagram it and go, God, no, not already. And every
They would
year
be saying that regardless
Yeah.
of what time of year it was. If it was November, they would say that. Nobody ever wants winter to come, and then when it does, we just kind of accept it and walk around super grumpy for 3 months.
it always snows, and we're always so surprised by it.
Yeah.
Every single year.
And guess what the top story is in the news today?
Snow?
That's right. It's the news you can literally get by looking out your window, and they're talking about.
But it's almost like Winnipeg almost has a we need to blame somebody for this mentality.
Is that right?
Yeah, like it's almost like who should we chase for bringing the snow upon us? You know, there's a angry mob looking for somebody. Somebody who can we blame?
Calgary's fault. Calgary got snow last week.
Oh, that's who we should
There we
blame.
go. All right, let's get it. We got a couple things to talk about. Forest Friday was on Friday. You kind of
Triple Forest Friday.
Triple for whatever that means.
Yeah, what does that mean?
We'll get into it in a second. Also, a major. I don't know if it's a leak or it's a rumor or what it is. We're going to talk about it anyway coming up. But first, of course, we'll get into our This Week in Star Wars clickbait.
What? How? What are you talking about? Huh? What? Goodness gracious me.
Came across this last week, but I saved it just because this is such a clickbaity headline. It just drives me nuts. Star Wars 9 Trailer 3 leaks may confirm a major Emperor Palpatine rumor.
Oh, okay. So what is it? So you click on the bait.
I click on this so you don't have to. And essentially, the whole article, it says possible spoilers ahead for Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker. But the whole article actually is based on Jason Ward and the Making Star Wars team over there, which Steele Saunders is a part of, I think, or at least friends with. And it's all it is. The trailer doesn't say what was in the trailer necessarily, but it basically kind of speculates as to when in the movie we get to see Palpatine. Is it going to be the beginning of the movie? Is it going to be the end of the movie? When are we going to get, how far into this are we going to, and they're all, the consensus seems to be that it's Kylo Ren who seeks him out. That's it, basically. That's the spoiler. Kylo Ren seeks out the Emperor or finds the Emperor, and they have a conversation.
That's a major spoiler.
I never would have guessed that.
The fact that the trailer has the Emperor cackling at the end of the trailer, we know he's in it. So it's not a spoiler. And the fact that at some point he and Kylo Ren would have a conversation seems like pretty accurate.
Yeah.
Seems like some accurate speculation there. Probably Rey and the Emperor will have some form of conversation.
And then we saw, of course, the last trailer had the Dark Rey image. So maybe she gets turned. Maybe it's just a Force vision. Maybe it's, I don't know what it could be.
Vision or clone, I say.
Or clone. Oh yeah, that was a great theory. You had that great theory about that. That's awesome.
We're still gonna have to sew up our final theories going in.
We'll
Once all the trailers are out.
Well, I mean, and that's another thing. When you think we're gonna get this trailer, we have to be getting it soon.
It's got to be.
It's got to be like any day. Like
it's so late in the game.
Monday Night Football next week. You want us? Oh no, wait. Okay, well, it's Thanksgiving in Canada, but not in the U.S. They're not going to wait until Thanksgiving in the U.S. That's usually a big weekend for trailers. That weekend of Thanksgiving, but I don't think they're going to wait till November to drop this. This got to be this.
It has to be
month.
in the next. Yeah.
In October. Weeks. So it's probably going to be, I'm going to guess actually the 14th. I'm going to say this Monday on Monday Night Football on ESPN because we want that awkward football moment.
I want these.
We have Frank Gifford talking about Star Wars.
The jock,
I don't know if he's on that show or not.
The jock who's mystified by the script he's been asked to read. And Pooh Dameroon.
Yes, right.
Or whatever. Like it's just going to be the usual discomfort. But then but to a wide audience of men.
Yes.
Yeah.
Half of which are into Star Wars probably, but the other half are going, what the hell is this interrupting my football game?
I never watch an NFL game except for the Super Bowl. That's it.
Yeah, I mean, me too. I would say that. Yeah, I don't even really watch the whole Super Bowl. I just watch the ads.
Some years more than others, but
depends on what's going on. Anyway, so there we go. That's our weekend clickbait. And as we near the release date of this film, there's going to be just more and more of this stuff. Actually, I would submit to our listeners, if you guys come across these, send them to us, tweet them at us, or message them or whatever. They're on our Facebook group. Or we have actually quite a few people posting legitimate articles about Star Wars and news about Star Wars in our Star Wars Nerds Facebook group, which you can find the link to in the show notes of this podcast. But also, I would love to see like just the most ridiculous clickbaity articles that do not say anything about what's going to come. That's kind of what we're looking for here. So please submit those to us through Facebook or even on Twitter if you want, at nerds_podcast.
Hey, and you just reminded me, I just came from my PR class where we're talking about pitching to journalists and to influencers.
Yeah.
And I told them sometimes we get pitched here. Sometimes people pitch stuff for us, like people who want to appear on the show.
Sure.
Or people who have a board game, like that one time. Or
Surplus of Popes guys?
Yeah, Surplus of Popes.
That was awesome.
So
really fun.
So we played the board game with them and stuff, and it's like, yeah, we're open for pitches. So send us your pitches.
What was the pitch perfect? There's no comma.
Yeah, we're back pitches. No comma.
No comma.
We're back pitches.
Okay.
Comma.
Let's take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk about the toys released on Force Friday.
It may not be a very long conversation.
Okay.
All right.
We'll be right back on Star Wars Nerds Podcast. So Friday was Triple Force Friday. I did see a number of people posting on social media about their finds and what they got. One person in particular picked up 3 versions of the same Mandalorian Black Series figure. One of them in a white box, one of them in a normal black box, and I can't remember what the third one was, a different type of thing. Oops, sorry.
There's those new carbon whatever figures.
Carbon frozen
does that mean they're made out of
carbonate?
What are they? What does it look like? Like I could not see, like it must feel different.
Okay.
Because I could not see a difference between that comparison that you're talking about.
Okay.
I could look it up and find out, but
well,
I thought I would see it.
Let's hear. Okay. So what did you see? What did you do?
Almost nothing.
Really?
Well, I thought GameStop was going to have it all because in the past that's where they have had it.
That's where that white box exclusive is GameStop.
When I got there, the cupboard was bare. So the poor old hag had none. And that's a nursery rhyme. And I was the poor old hag who had none because I was there the next day and I was like, there's going to be something here. There's no way that there'll be nothing. And there was one, like a weird hybrid between a 6-inch and a 3.5-inch figure that was probably about 4 inches. And that had, it was for a stormtrooper. And it said The Rise of Skywalker on it. And so I went, okay, this is from the new movie. And I looked at it and I was like, man, not interested. And looking around, like nothing. So I finally said to the guy, I bought Sea of Thieves for Xbox.
Oh, that's a good.
while I was
That's a
there.
good game.
Yeah, people
Yep.
really
Yeah,
like
I
that
played
game.
it.
Yeah,
Yep.
it took me 16 hours to load it, and so it must be the biggest game ever made.
It's huge. Yes.
Yeah, and plus the update and all the other Xbox updates that I had waited on all happened at once. It was like 16 hours later, and so I never played it basically, like because it took all day. But so I bought that. But then I asked the guy what I bought it. Where is the Star Wars stuff? And he's like, we hardly got anything. He said, I said, did you get the Mandalorian? Because that was the one thing I wanted to buy, the 6-inch one. And he was like, yeah, we had that, and that went right away. He's like, some guy bought all of them or something.
Oh, that was the guy I saw on Facebook.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. So they went fast. There's no real, like, no displays at Walmart, like nothing. Like, remember how they used to?
Yeah. Well, I admittedly I was in Walmart on the weekend. I did take a swing through the toy
What'd
section.
you see?
I didn't see anything. I didn't see anything out of the ordinary. So what do you think is the issue here? Is it just we didn't get shipped the right stuff, or are they holding back or something? Are they waiting till closer to the Christmas season, or what's the thing?
I think in Canada we still have Toys R Us, and that's the place I did not go. Did you go to Toys R Us?
I did not know.
So that might have got the bulk of it.
I don't know. It's weird how things have changed, though. Since Toys R Us shut down in the U.S., things have changed in the toy landscape, whereas I don't know that Toys R Us Canada is the primary source of toys in this respect anymore. We've talked about Toy Galaxy a few times on the podcast, and he has said that a big place where people go to get toys is Walgreens, apparently in the U.S. That's become, since Toys R Us shut down, Walgreens has become the place to go to get these types of figures, which is, I think, really interesting.
Well, now there's and there's all those exclusives as usual at Target, which we no longer have.
We also no longer have Forever 21. Let's just So U.S. American retail chains thinking of coming into Canada, just don't. There's no point anymore. There's no point in expanding into Canada. We don't want you anyway.
I've also noticed there's just a general lack of fandom around figures than what there used to be, even from Force Awakens.
Okay.
Like I don't think anybody lined up here. I don't think there was any kind of big mad dash for stuff. I think it's just like one or two lone males strolling in and buying their stuff, and they're adult males at that. I don't see like a massive collectible, like you said, your kids don't collect stuff, right?
No, not really. And to be fair, I didn't either. I was sorry, I'm trying to look up something at the same time here. I'll do this after. Yeah, I mean, it's just the general action figure kind of category was never big with my kids. Action figures, I think, have become a grown person's game, so to speak. It was, again, when we were children in the 80s, it was the biggest thing in the world. Like, action figures were huge, millions and millions of dollars, billions probably, and they had, of course, the entire ecosystem of cartoons and comic books and all the different pieces of media to support the toy line. And we had, I forgot, again, until I started watching Toy Galaxy, I forgot how many gimmicky toys were out there, and I owned a lot of them. Like, I'm like, oh yeah, I had something like that. Like, it would be that where my parents would pick me up something for $5 at the store that just kind of looked cool, and I didn't know what it was. And it turns out it was a Battle Beast, which was like this figure of a kind of a anthropomorphic animal, and you rubbed its chest to find out what team it was on. Remember, it had those heat-sensitive stickers where you rub it and it appears, and it was like a paper. It was actually rock, paper, scissors, kind of a play on that. So yeah, that has gone away. Video games killed it, and that happened in the late 80s. To be fair, when Nintendo came around and that kind of stuff, video games killed the action figure industry for children. So now it's a grown up. The grown ups who had them as children continue to collect them as you do, but it's not something for kids anymore, and that's evident by the detail you get on these things and the price of them, because a lot of them are super expensive. Even like a black figure is $25 or something like that.
I think also that's part of it. I also think back in the day you could not watch the movies again. Like even the VHS rental business had not really taken off yet, and so having the action figures was a way to relive the movie. Like, use your imagination to relive the movie.
that Yoda playset, the Dagobah playset, I loved that so much because you had the little quicksand, foam quicksand thing. You could stick Luke or stick R2 in there, and he'd be stuck. And then I think he had the little periscope that came out. I think that was the era. One version of R2D2 had the little periscope to pop up. Did I ever tell you that when I was a kid, I thought he'd been eaten away? I thought that periscope he sticks out of the water in that scene meant that he had been eaten away and he didn't have a body anymore. I didn't understand it to be a periscope.
Oh, that's
when I
funny.
saw that movie. I'm like, what happened to R2? And then all of a sudden he gets spit out by the creature and he's fine. So
That's one of my favorite Mark Hamill acting moments when he does the whoa, when you see him looking through the air at R2D2 flying.
Yeah.
And then you see R2D2 hit the ground. I love that.
Yeah, he's great.
It's like Mark Hamill watching a tennis match, basically. Like, whoa. Like, I always think, how many times did they shoot him sitting on that log going, whoa, whoa. Here he comes again, whoa. One more time, whoa.
So there was
Yeah, that's
nothing.
a great scene,
There
yeah.
was nothing out there. Nothing to speak of.
Well, there was that one stormtrooper I looked at, and it was a lot like the other stormtroopers, to be honest. So I don't see a lot of, I don't see as much push behind this. And what made it Triple Force Friday? Are you looking that up?
I am, yeah.
Please do. Was it because it's Mandalorian, Clone Wars, and
Rise of Skywalker.
and Rise of Skywalker all at once? Is that what makes it triple? I was just calling it Force Friday up until last week when I saw that it was.
A galaxy of new toys, collectibles, and more inspired by Star Wars, The Rise of Skywalker, The Mandalorian, and Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. That's the third thing. That's the video game coming out, I guess.
Oh, right, the video game.
I don't know when that's coming out, though, the video game.
No, I'm not super interested in that one, but I'll look at it when it comes out. I'll see what it's all about.
Yeah, that's exactly what that is.
Yeah, it's sort of been mentioning the trailer and sort of the lack of toys, the lack of splash. But then
But the thing is, from the website, it looks like they did all their usual stuff. They did a live stream. They did kind of an unboxing video. Like, it looks like Star Wars itself did make a big deal out of it. It just nobody else did.
No.
Right? Like, that's the problem.
But you need the retail outlets on board too.
Yeah. And if they don't have that, then they're not gonna.
Like, remember, this actually reminds me of something. Remember, with the original trilogy, I think Return of the Jedi did the best or did the least amount of business compared to the other two movies. Mm-hmm. And same thing with Revenge of the Sith. Probably didn't do as well as the first two, I think, as there's sort of a burnout factor on people. And I'm wondering, are we seeing now? We've not just had the trilogy films, but then also this Solo and Rogue One. Do you think this is are we seeing burnout fatigue?
I hope not, because it's actually been a while. It will have been a year and a half since we had Solo. So
yeah,
2
years since the last trilogy.
Yeah, and so it's I hope that we're not getting burnt out of that, because I'm excited about this. I am still very excited about the film. I can't wait to see it. And it's been a good amount of time. Like, again, we've said this many times. I'm okay with having yearly Star Wars films come out. It's been more than a year since we've had the last one, so I'm kind of chomping at the bit to see Star Wars again.
Yeah.
But I don't know. The third chapter in the film, certainly that didn't happen with Return of the Jedi back in the original trilogy days, because they waited 3 years between films, and we thought this was it. Like, Return of the Jedi, we thought that was going to be it. There was going to be nothing else.
Right.
And there wasn't for a very long time. There wasn't before they realized they could kind of continue the story in other ways. I don't know that people are kind of, it's just not up there in the awareness yet. They have not done, to be fair, they have not done a ton of marketing. I'm not seeing the level of marketing that we saw for The Force Awakens or other Star Wars films.
It's like they're afraid to do it.
Well, it's like they're really pulling back. Like, they did it. They went hard for Solo. They tried to really shove Star Wars down our throat, and that didn't work. So now they're a little gun shy, I think, to do stuff.
And I noticed after the last trailer or whatever, mini trailer or whatever that was, the one with Dark Ray at the end,
yeah,
that there's initial excitement among fans, like, oh man, that looks awesome, and then followed by kind of this bait and switch feeling. Like, it's just a Force vision, or just a.
Well, we've learned that the trailers are not accurate. The trailers are misleading.
And people kind of do the math and go, in the third chapter, she can't. If they're showing us her evil Rey, how can that possibly play out? They're not going to end the movie with her being evil Rey. It's very unlikely. It's possible, but it's very unlikely. And if they did, why would they show it in the trailer? You start to do the math.
Well, for sure.
And go like,
because they've kind of burned us in the past with these trailers, and we realize that these scenes are being shown out of order. They're being shown out of context. So there's no real way of really knowing. In a way, the trailers make it worse. and I'm kind of glad we're not seeing a ton of trailers. Like they're calling this one Trailer 3, but it really is, to be fair, the first full trailer.
Yeah.
We have not had a proper trailer yet. We had the teaser. We had whatever this was. This special look is what they called it.
It was like
the
a
one-
remembrance of the old
Right,
movies
right.
and tying them to the new, whatever the new one.
Yeah,
is.
and it ended with the image of Dark Ray, but that was not a real trailer. Like we still haven't had one for this film, a proper like 2-minute trailer for the movie. So I don't know. It's hard to say what people are thinking about right now. I just think people are thinking about other things. They're not thinking about Star Wars.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No,
Except for
I know.
us.
Well, yeah, except for us because we're interested in it, and but still, it's we're interested in it, and we're the ones going to the store, going, oh, it's all. There wasn't very
Now-
it's the story I heard was that there wasn't much merch to begin with. The story I heard at the GameStop was that there was 5 things or something, and that all went to the first guy.
I want to check something quickly. I wonder how the decline of brick and mortar is affecting this.
Oh, it has to have.
Oh shoot! Hold on. I'm trying to sign into Amazon.
What are you looking for?
I just want to look up. I just want to look at Star Wars toys. Oh, look at this! The Visual Dictionary. Oh, by Pablo Hidalgo.
Oh, the new one.
Oh my God! Can't forget the toys. I want this.
There was a.
It's only okay. This title will be released on December 20th, 2019. You can pre-order it. So Pablo, will you come to Winnipeg? Okay, no, I'll mail you. I'm just talking to Pablo now because I know he listens. I'll mail you the copy of this, and you can sign it and send it back. Because look at the front of this. Is that a? Are you looking at this?
The carbonized collection, by the way, is what I was trying to say
yeah.
before. Sorry.
It looks like the front of this is a. Is that
Knight of Ren.
Is that a Knight of Ren?
Yeah,
Oh.
and they actually leaked the description a couple days ago of the Knights of Ren. It doesn't really say much.
That looks
You
so
know what
cool,
it says?
though.
The one thing it says that's interesting is that they never remove their helmets. That they're permanently encased in that rusty helmet. But
What's their dental work like? It's probably not good.
how come Kylo can take his off, but they
How are you
can't?
gonna brush your teeth in that thing?
Yeah, no kidding. Must be horrible in there.
Carbonized collection is a 6-inch scale, and it's in a red box.
Yeah, I'm looking to see what carbonized means.
Carbonized.
Premium detail and design.
In its ultimate push toward galactic conquest, the First Order readies an army of elite soldiers that draw inspiration from a dark and ancient legacy. Kids and collectors alike, that's more the latter, can imagine the biggest battles and missions in the Star Wars saga with stickers from Star Wars The Black Series. Oh, this is about the Black Series.
Yeah.
Oh, the 6-inch carbonized collection figures detailed to look like the character from Star Wars Rise of Skywalker. Doesn't say what makes it
define
different.
carbonized.
Oh, no, here we go. The carbonized collection is treated with a sleek metallic finish for for premium figure. So it's a little more shiny.
Metally.
It's a little shiny.
It's metalier. Yeah, there's actually quite a bit on Amazon.
So this thing is like $35 Canadian, and it's like it's basically a red Stormtrooper is all it is. So what does that mean? Like, it's just, obviously they make a new Stormtrooper every movie. But
and look at this: a Knight of Ren 3 3/4 inch figure, $17.99 on Amazon.
yeah, I see a vintage Star Wars Rise of Skywalker Rey toy. Rey is vintage already. It's a vintage collection because it's got the old packaging. It's got the
$30 for the Star Wars Black 6-inch figures.
Yeah. Oh, the vintage collection Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker Poe Dameron's X-wing, $140.
That looks like a cool one, but geez, $140
That
for
thing. It's cool. It is cool. I mean, it's a different color than his other X-wing. It's like orange and gray. It looks like.
They also did the Dagobah Luke X-wing too. I think is in this release.
Whew, man. I'm glad my kids don't like this stuff anymore.
What I like is when they issue the classic figure, I like speculating that maybe that's in the movie.
Like what?
Like if they show Luke's X-wing on Dagobah, it's like, ooh, maybe Luke goes back to Dagobah and the Rise of Skywalker, but probably not.
Well, there might be a flashback or something like that.
Well, look, they're gonna visit. We're almost sure it's Endor, right? The moon of Endor.
It's got to be. What else could it be? It could be Yavin, possibly. But no, it wouldn't make sense.
No, it doesn't make sense.
No, that makes even less sense. So it's got to be Endor.
Yeah, it has to be.
Oh, I want a Rise of Skywalker shirt. Oh man,
They have the shirt. How much?
it's $24. $22.
That's not bad.
So just for the
Let's see.
Rise of Skywalker.
Oh, nice. It's
logo.
like the Rogue One that you bought us.
Yeah. That was a Disney exclusive, although it's probably available other places. But look at this guy all tatted out, modeling that shirt.
Very nice.
Do the arm tattoos come with it? Anyway, okay.
The ultimate Star Wars fan.
What I also wanted to talk about this week was the we got
spoiler alert, right?
Oh yes, okay.
So let's stop and say that. Spoiler.
Well,
it's not really, but okay.
Potential spoiler alert. Note the enthusiasm by which I say this because I don't think it is, but okay.
But it's cool.
Yeah, for sure. So the story this week, of course, is that apparently Rebel Force Radio confirmed this. What's his name again?
Dennis Lawson.
Dennis Lawson, the actor who played Wedge Antilles in all three of the original Star Wars films, will be back in this movie.
Oh yeah, will he ever?
That's what they're saying.
And there's even a drawing of old Wedge on the back of some. I can't remember if it's from a book. It got leaked. It's a book or a packaging of some kind.
But they're saying Rebel Force Radio is saying they reached out to his agent, and the agent confirmed.
Right.
So, I mean, I don't know if they're allowed to do that or not, or what's. If they are, then it's got to be not a spoiler, and we may even see him in the trailer. Come the next trailer.
We wanted him in. Let's be honest, in Force Awakens.
We did. Yeah, he would have been nice.
Didn't he say he didn't want anything to? He'll never do one again.
Yeah, that's what you told me. Yeah.
Yeah, I think he did say that, but then he showed up at Star Wars Celebration that one year, and they turned him back.
I mean, it's hard to turn down a dump truck full of money.
That's just it,
right? Like. They had to have paid him very well for his appearance, and
well, maybe not.
Maybe JJ just convinced him. Could have just convinced him to come back. He was able to convince a lot of other people to come back. Lando's back in this one.
Like Wedge has the notoriety of being in the original films and surviving.
He's the only other guy to survive.
Right.
That and that Y-wing fighter that we never know who that is.
Oh yeah, who was that?
I don't know who's in that Y-wing. Is that
not Gold Leader? I'll tell you that. So I don't think you'll be in the movie for longer than a few minutes and glimpses here and there. I don't think it'll be with any fanfare. I think it'll just be kind of like, okay, pilots, take to your stations, and we'll see Wedge.
Now, what I'm curious about, okay, so if we're talking about the pilots, there's going to be some sort of battle scene with the X-wings.
Yeah.
And are we going to have what was his name? JJ's buddy there, who's in all his movies. Greg Grunberg.
Oh yeah,
remember him? So he was not in the Last Jedi because it wasn't a JJ movie. So he'll be back in this one presumably.
I think so.
As will Ello Asti. Or did Ello Asti die in the last movie?
Some of that character design wasn't the best. In retrospect,
we're kind of going back to JJ's squad, I guess it is. So it'll be interesting to see if Wedge kind of gets involved in it. Now the question is, where has Wedge been this whole time? Why wasn't he in The Force Awakens? How will they explain his absence?
Well, doesn't Luke's voiceover in the last trailer say the rebellion is reborn, or somebody says that the rebellion is reborn?
Yeah.
So if the rebellion's reborn, then maybe that means Wedge just came back.
Wedge was reborn.
The rebellion is reborn if Wedge is back in.
I do believe that Wedge is mentioned in the Aftermath books. So
right.
he's been out and about doing different things. He's worked his way up, so he's kind of like a special. He's still a pilot, but he also kind of did special missions, almost like a Black Ops or Secret Ops kind of a thing.
Right.
So he'd go off and do secret things. I don't know. He's probably been doing something secretive on the other side of the galaxy, and he's finally back to help out with the Rebel Alliance the Resistance, because they need a pilot who can walk away from. Although many more of them walked away from the destruction of the Starkiller base.
Yeah.
I think most of them survived that. I don't know how many people actually died in that battle.
It actually makes me want to sit down and just make a list of the surviving people from Star Wars movies who we have never heard from again.
Oh yeah.
And just to sort of sit there and go, okay, what are the possibilities? Like, okay, if we're getting a battle royale with cheese at the very end of the movie, then maybe Mace Windu is back, right? Speaking of royale with cheese. Mace Windu maybe survived, and wouldn't that be a nice time for a Jedi Knight to show up?
Yeah,
and maybe Wedge, maybe Lando, maybe.
Well, we know Lando's in it. We know like Wedge is going to be in it. I don't know about Mace Windu. I don't like that idea.
Who survived out of those Jedi Knights? Who can still show up?
Of the Order 66 era? I don't know. Like all the main.
There must have been some.
All the main ones we liked. All the ones we knew. It was all faceless Jedi who died in that.
No,
in that
there was there was also the guy with the pointy head.
the guy with the head tails.
Oh, he died.
The Twilight guy.
Wait a sec. Did anybody survive? Oh, Yaddle. Did Yaddle survive?
Oh, is that the other? That's the other
The
Yoda?
sort of Yoda-esque.
Yoda's cousin, Yaddle.
There aren't too many, when you really think hard, there aren't too many familiar faces I'd be excited to see except for Wedge. I'm trying to think of who else could.
There is another. I mean, Mon Mothma, I guess. Like Mon Mothma.
Been there.
Yeah, I mean, there was not much else. We've already had Akbar. He's dead. We had. Oh wait, who's the co-pilot? Lando's co-pilot in Jedi, Return of the Jedi.
Nien Nunb.
Nien Nunb. We saw him. Yeah,
Yeah,
he's been
we
in
saw
already.
him.
Yeah, yeah.
So he can be back.
Oh yeah, he was in the Force Awakens again, but not.
Oh, do you think him and Lando will be in the Millennium Falcon?
That would be awesome.
Oh,
That would be so awesome.
Come on.
Bring those two together again.
oh, I never even thought of that. I'm
Yeah.
a moron until this.
Like
very-
we saw the clip in the clip. We
Oh.
see him yelling like he does in
Yeah.
in Jedi. So why not put those two
Wouldn't that be
together in
funny?
the cockpit of the
and
Millennium
then Nien
Falcon
Nunb
again?
turns again and goes and talks again. Blah, 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 blah.
He comes to reclaim the Millennium Falcon because Han is dead now. So he wants his ship back once and for
Where's
all.
my ship, you pirate?
That's right. That's what's happening. And then he pilots it into the. Now there's there cannot be another Death Star. There cannot be, unless there is another
No.
Star Killer base or whatever the hell is. So we're not going to have.
Well, we know
another-
we have the fleet of Star Destroyers. That's probably,
we
maybe
know-
a castle, maybe.
We know we have the wrecked Death Star. That's the
Yeah.
the wreckage of. Oh, do we know that? We're just guessing at
Oh,
that.
it is. No, that's 100% wrecked.
Okay,
Death.
yeah,
when you
yeah.
put that together with the original, with the art treatments for Force Awakens, that was a part of the treatment.
Oh, was it?
Was the
Okay.
Death Star underwater with them sort of exploring the ruins?
Oh, okay.
And it's like that has to be this, and in the art from Force Awakens, it even shows the Emperor's throne room underwater. Like this, they had this in mind already for Force Awakens.
Okay.
Yeah.
Huh.
So I
And then
it
that plus
has
the
to be.
emperor being in it as well.
Yeah.
Presumably he would have survived that fall. And
How
and then,
that works? Who that like? That's going to
well,
be
Luke survived it in Cloud City. Like that those big long shafts don't do anything to anybody.
Well,
Which makes me wonder if Han Solo survived, but Han
because
Solo
we do see
stabbed with
we
the
do
lightsaber.
see it go like a puff of smoke at the bottom, don't we? When
When
he
the Emperor
lands,
dies?
yeah, it's like a
don't
electric
remember.
charge.
Got to rewatch them all. We got to get going on that actually, and I have to get going on reposting our episodes. I keep forgetting to repost our old
Oh, right.
episodes of us watching all the movies.
Do you
because-
think in the movie they're going to have like a laborious description about how he survived, or are we just going to accept it, or is it just going to be here he is and
they have to explain it? They have to somehow explain it. It could be a 5-minute, flashback
Yeah.
scene or something like that. It could be a very simple explanation. Like honestly, I hesitate to speculate at that because, knowing them, they'll come up with something we haven't thought of.
The first time I saw Return of the Jedi in the theater, and Luke had the chat with Leia, and he said, "You're my sister," or
Yeah.
whatever. And I remember
Sorry about kissing you that one time.
and everyone in the theater went, "Oh!" Like there's a palpable like,
I
"No,
remember
come on!" Well, there wasn't my
Okay.
showing for sure. There was, and I still remember that. I remember going, "Yeah, it's a." And now it doesn't bug me at all when I watch the movie. Like I don't even think about it. But at the time, I remember there was leaving the theater going, that was kind of a clunky way to explain what's going on here. But how else do you do it? That's the problem. The problem is how else do you do it?
But here that brings me to this point, which is that they don't always, that kind of stuff is not written in stone. They that's the scene in which Leia talks about remembering her mother.
Yeah.
But we know that she can't remember her mother because Padme died minutes after she was born. Right?
Well, I guess we'll
So-
fix that somehow.
Well, no, but, like that.
it's
That's
the midichlorians were talking to her.
I don't know. Or like was she talking about her mother? Like you could talk about like Bail Organa's wife or whatever. Was she talking about that mother? Is that her mother she was thinking
Yeah,
about?
who is she thinking
Like,
about when
you know.
she says that? Yeah, that's always been a loose end there.
Like does Leia know in that moment? Does Leia know that she was adopted? Considering Jimmy Smits is Hispanic, maybe.
Maybe she thought Jimmy Smits was her mother.
That's right.
We don't know what she could think anything. She could be thinking of Jar Jar Binks for all we know.
I don't know. Anyway,
Well, hey, Jar Jar Binks. We do not have confirmation that he is that he's dead on Alderaan.
No, they made it again. They've made
Could
many
it
jokes in the animated Clone Wars series about Jar Jar dying. He never died. He could still be alive. That would be hilarious.
Could it be that he will be one of the leftover people who rallies to?
That
fight
would
the
be
Emperor?
hilarious. I would honestly love that.
I never even thought of that till
I
now.
would love it if we saw Jar Jar Binks, even if it's in the background of a scene somewhere,
He's
or
back.
one line, or something confirming that he's still alive. I would be so trolling the fans. I would love it. I would just laugh out loud.
But it would be, but I think it would be acceptable in a scenario where we're taking whoever's left in this galaxy and we are sticking it. This is the
cramming them all into this movie.
This is the battle to end all battles, and we need to get every last. Like Boss Nass could come back. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like you could get the whole thing all with the biggest fight ever going down, and that could be great.
Could we get Boba Fett?
Depends what the Mandalorian's all about when we start getting those episodes.
And we won't have the full picture when the film comes out because the Mandalorian will only have been out for like a month, so we'll have like half the season.
That's weird timing too.
It is, yeah, you're right.
It's very odd.
Which makes me think that that they don't have anything to do with each other.
Or that they're so closely related, and that's when we're gonna.
Something revealed in episode 4 is going to tie into the Rise of Skywalker. I don't know. I just think that they've not been great about tying that stuff together. Like I was so expecting back when Rogue One came out, I was so expecting there to be a direct tie-in to Rebels because that happens in the exact same time period. I thought for sure we would see it. And whatever. We saw the Ghost. We saw this ship off to the side during the Battle of Scarif or whatever, but there wasn't any direct tie-in. Apparently, Chopper's in it as well.
Right.
But
I've never been able to find.
I've never been. Yeah, no, me neither. So there was not a direct tie-in to Rebels, which I was totally expecting.
Me too.
I was expecting so the example I always go to is in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., leading into the Age of Ultron, they discover something in the show. They discover that remember the beginning of Age of Ultron when they were attacking that base, that Hydra base?
Yeah.
They discovered that base in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. They said, let's call the Avengers. And then boom, it goes to the next step in that story is the Avengers attacking that base. So I was expecting something like that between Rebels and Rogue One. Didn't happen. I don't think we can expect anything like that where it's going to be a direct, like, here's what's going to happen next. And then the movie is showing what's going to happen next.
Yeah.
So no, it's, it is what it is.
Well, let's see how this plays out. But timing is odd. And is it a tie-in? Is it not a tie-in? Is it too much Star Wars at once again, or is it? Or it's kind of funny. It's just odd how this is all. And man, for all we know, it's the Disney Plus launch date that's driving it, as opposed to the tie-in.
The Disney Plus launch date is November 12th, correct?
Yeah. Is that it?
Yeah, I believe so. Day after Remembrance Day here in Canada.
Yeah.
Quickly before we go, there's a new alien face. Did you see this a couple weeks ago?
I did.
This new alien face revealed. And what do we know about it? Anything?
I don't know anything about it, and I'm sort of in the phase where I'm not. I'm not looking into everything I see. I'm gonna try to leave. Like, I know that Making Star Wars podcast has got all the leaks and everything else, and I'm just not gonna.
Oh, okay. Wait. Here it is. The first look at Babu Frick, spelled F-R-I-K, the tiny Anzelian droidsmith, first glimpsed in toy form during the Triple Force Friday live stream event. Works among the Spice Runners of Kijimi. Spice Runners of Kijimi, and can reprogram or modify virtually any droid, regardless of the security measures protecting its systems.
Ooh.
Wow.
And he's in the movie for less than a fraction of a second.
Like, to be honest, he looks a little bit like, is that the same species that Jon Favreau's character is with the multiple arms?
He almost looks like he's a pod racer character.
Yeah. But like, you remember the Jon Favreau's character in Solo? That's kind of what he looks like, sort of like that creature. I don't know what the name
might be.
I don't know what that species is.
No.
Anyway, yeah. Ooh, and then now they have a contest here to win a trip to the premiere of Rise of Skywalker. I'm going to enter.
Where Pablo will be watching a Jets game.
That's right. He will be. Oh, it won't be playoffs, so probably not.
Nah.
To be fair, he only does it during the playoffs.
That's right. Only when Solo launches during the playoffs does that happen. Which basically never again, probably.
No, that's never going to happen again.
Star Wars is Christmas now.
All right, well, that's going to do it. Let me start that again. That was very bad.
All right, my voice cracked, so.
That's going to do it for this episode of the Star Wars Nerds. I'm Dan Vadabonker.
I'm Kenton Larson. Don't let the Force hit you on the ass.
Power converters.
TK421, do you copy? We're all fine here now, thank you. How are you?